Thank you, Leslie. And now it's time for our message. Would you welcome Stuart along to the platform, please? Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Reverend Bill. It's always an honour to be invited to give the message. Thank you so much. Okay. So today I'm going to talk on the divine power of love. And this talks about love and its unifying power. Okay, so the power for the month of April is love. And I would assert that love is the greatest power of the 12 powers. That's my personal opinion. So love is the ability to attract, desire, and unity. And the affirmation, if you wouldn't mind saying it with me, is I am a centre of love. Can we say that together, please? I am a centre of love. Location is in the heart, and the apostle for the month is the Apostle John. I want to talk briefly on the metaphysical meaning of love. First of all, what's the metaphysical dictionary? The Metaphysical Bible Dictionary was written by Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore. It's a thorough and complete compilation of the metaphysical aspects of the Bible. More than 900 pages of insights, definitions, and expert analysis of the Bible. So if I go to the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary and look up love, this is what I get. Love is a divine attribute. It is an idea in the one mind. God is love, and love is God, or equality in being. The difference between divine love and human love is that divine love is broad and unlimited, a universal and harmonizing power. Human love is based on personality and is selfish, lawless, and fickle. In reality, there is only one love. When man expresses divine love, it limits ways he makes, when man expresses divine love in limited ways, he makes a separation in consciousness, and his expression of love is personal instead of universal. Divine love will establish one in fearlessness and courage. For God gave us not a spirit of fearfulness, but the power of love. So the colour is pink. I'm going to talk briefly on that. The colour of love and compassion. Pink is kind and comforting, full of sympathy and compassion, and makes us feel accepted. Its friendly, playful spirit calms and nurtures us, brings joy and warmth into our lives. Pink is also a feminine and intuitive colour that is bursting with pure romance. Now the apostle, as I mentioned, for the month is John, probably my favourite of the apostles. In the Gospel of John, love, especially love for one another and for God, is a central theme, with Jesus' commandment to love one another as I have loved you. I like how the Gospel of John begins too with, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And the interesting part there is the apparent unity and separation. So they're separate, but they're also one. And this paradoxical theme comes up over and over again. So, of course, I've got a quote from Apostle John. A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another, even as I have loved you, that you also love one another. By this all men will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. So the main indicator of whether you're a follower of Jesus is your love. I'm going to read that again. I really like that. A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another, even as I have loved you, that you also love one another. By this all men will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. It's almost labouring the point there, but it's an important point. John is arguably the most beloved gospel. If you were to ask someone today which gospel was their favourite, chances are they would say the Gospel of John. Clement of Alexandria famously referred to John's gospel as the spiritual gospel, as opposed to the more narrative type synoptic gospels. So the synoptic gospels are the other three, Matthew, Mark, Luke. And I thought I'd talk to you about what synoptic means. It means of or forming a general summary or synopsis. So John's unique because his stories, there are stories in there that the synoptic gospels don't tell. Some of them are the most beloved stories. Jesus changing water into wine, Jesus' conversation with Nicodemus, Jesus and the woman at the well, the resurrection of Lazarus, the washing of the disciples' feet, and the entire garden discourses in the Gospel of John. So it's an amazing gospel. So I've got a quote from the co-founder of Unity. So the two founders were Charles and Myrtle. God is love, and it is the nature of divine love to give life, joy, peace, and health. And one of the things I love about this quote is it's focusing on what God or divine source is and what we are and what we can expect and what we can manifest through that knowledge in realignment with source. Also, I want to touch on this too, the greatest commandment. So Jesus was asked, "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law?" And he replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbour as yourself. All the law of the prophets hang on these two commandments." And this, once again, is one of the most powerful statements in the Bible to me, because it's bringing us back to focus on the primary thing is love. The unifying force is love. I'm going to read that one again. Jesus was asked, "Teacher, what is the greatest commandment in the law?" And he replied, "Love." He starts with the word love. "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbour as yourself. All the law of the prophets hang on these two commandments." So I've got another a quote from John, the Apostle John. "Beloved, let us love one another, because love comes from God. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God." That's also amazing for me, because it talks about the unity. It's not one path. Do you have love? Do you express love? Do you feel love? Then you're in line with God. It's as simple as that. I love the beauty and elegance of that. It's not, do you know this gospel? Do you affirm this? Do you follow this path? None of that. It just cuts to the core. That's what I really love about John too. So I've got a Charles Fillmore quote here. As Charles Fillmore explained it, love is an inequality that sees good everywhere and in everybody. It insists that all is good, and by refusing to see anything but good, it causes that quality finally to appear, uttermost in itself and in all things. So it's about manifesting and retuning into the divine power of love, shifting one's focus from the external world back to the truth, reality, and unity of our true divine source, which is love. And also, as Jesus said, be in the world, but not of the world. Now, with this, you might instinctively think that's a naive, rose-coloured glasses kind of approach. You know, let's just focus on the love, let's ignore anything that's negative. But I kind of understand that now, because I didn't in the past. So people like Buddha sitting underneath the Bodhi tree, separating from the distractions of this world and just focusing on the truth. From that perspective, I absolutely get what Charles Fillmore was trying to tell us. So we get more of what we focus on. We end up amplifying what we focus on. Also, a beautiful quote from Eric Butterworth, who I've been incredibly impressed by. You can watch videos of him speaking on YouTube. He's an elegant, excellent speaker. He's another Unity author. Now, this is part of what I'm getting at with this whole talk. Love is not giving something. It is being something. It's what we actually are as part of divine source. So love is not giving something, although that can be an aspect of love, but it's actually about being something. So this is one of the things I wanted to address today. Invariably, when I discuss the topic of God or divine source being love, the following question emerges. Okay, then, Stuart, why is there suffering in this world? Why is all this stuff happening in my life that is just dreadful if God is love? What's going on here? Jesus addressed this definitely to my satisfaction. So it took me a while to understand this, but in retrospect, now that I've learned more about the Unity teachings and all the whole path I've been in, Jesus, he told us 3 times, even laboured this point, about separation. So he told the parable of the lost coin, the lost sheep, the lost son. In each telling of the parable story, an aspect of the whole becomes separated and is reunited with great joy. So you've got the coin that goes missing. When it's found, there's great celebration. The sheep, which is a beautiful story about the shepherd going and looking for that lost sheep to bring it back to the flock. The lost son, which is the prodigal son. The son goes off to have his own experience. And then eventually decides, I've had enough of this separation. I'm going to go home. And when he does, he's met with love. There's no judgment. The father doesn't say, okay, I'm glad you're back, but we're going to make reparations for all the stuff you did. Now, you went left with all that money. How are we going to get that back? There's none of that. In fact, it's the brother who says that, not the father. So, I'm going to get slightly esoteric now, but we're currently involved in a compartmentalized experience of apparent separation, like a dream. And the quantum physicists discovered this too. So the best analogy I've got is if you go to bed at night and have a dream, you're involved in your own sort of virtual reality experience for that time. You're still here as part of us, but you're in an experience of apparent separation. So it feels like you're separate in your own experience there. So that's brought us into these questions about, do we live in a matrix, a hologram, a simulation? We kind of do. That's why Jesus is saying, be in the world, but not of the world. So we're here to have experiences and to learn. Because if you come from a position of all-knowing, which is what we really are, divine source, the only thing that's left to learn or understand or experience is what it's like to not know. The way I've described it before is we're kind of playing the cosmic version of Survivor. I don't know if you've ever seen that show before, where we're actually experiencing some limitation. Because it's just an idea or a concept separation, because in truth we're all unified. That's why I love this church, unity. There couldn't be a better name for the church, really. So another quote from Charles Fillmore. Divine love in the heart establishes one in fearlessness and indomitable courage. So I'll read that again. Divine love in the heart establishes one in fearlessness and indomitable courage. Now, how can that be true? That's because we're realigning and re-identifying ourselves both with and as an aspect of divine source. So we're just returning to the truth of what and who we really are. This is very powerful, We've been pretending to be separate from God, and we've learned some things from it. It's been an amazing experience, and it seems stressful at times. Why is this stuff happening to my life? Well, we actually chose to have an experience of separation. And by saying that, I'm not saying it's all our fault. This was what we were supposed to do. That's why when the son goes back to the father and the prodigal son, the father's so overjoyed to have him back. And the son goes back with a new humbleness and a new respect and love for the whole. I get emotional just talking about it. So I wanted to end with a reference to a song which I sing in the jazz acts. It's called Nature Boy. And the final line of that song is very important to me and kind of encapsulates the whole thing here. The greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. The greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. Thank you so much.